guys, welcome back to Lindsey Loves. Today I'm going to do a review and swatch video for you and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be on the ColourPop Stone Cold Fox palette. I haven't opened this yet. I've been dying to, but I wanted to wait so I could swatch it for you guys. So I'm going to be doing that. There are several shades in here. I'm also going to be comparing it to the That's Taupe palette because I think there are going to be some similarities. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open this. I was originally going to do a haul of a lot of beauty products that I have got recently, but I decided to do a separate video just for this because there are a lot of shades in here. It is a big palette despite its relatively small size, and because I think it deserves its own video. I'm really excited about it. So this is what it looks like. And you've just got so many beautiful shades here. I cannot wait to swatch them for you. And then this is the That's Taupe palette. As you can see, I have used this one a little bit already, actually quite a lot since I've gotten it. So we're going to compare these two side by side. I'll show you what I think. I'll show you if there are any comparisons in similar shades. But first we're going to dig into this. So let's go ahead and swatch it and then I'll show you maybe things that are duplicates in this palette. One thing I do want to note before I swatch is that this does not have a mirror. I would expect a palette of this size to have a mirror, so that's a little bit disappointing, but it's not a deal breaker for me. So I'm just going to go row by row and swatch all of these. Okay, so we have So Fine. Then we have Trip, Luxe, Dreamful, I Dig It, and Mystery. Here's that first row, starting with So Fine on the one end and ending with Mystery on the other end. Okay, next we're gonna do this row right here. So I'm gonna start with Stranger. And then Quarry Days, You Rock, Magnetic Moon, that's a really bright, pretty silver. And then we have Enigma. I like that there are a lot of mattes and shimmers in this. There's a really good mix, I think. And then finally Ghost Town. So these are these first two rows. Next we're going to get into this middle row right here. And we're going to start with Stone Age. Just going to start a second row here. We have Hard Place. That's gorgeous. And then Sediment to Be. Oh, I love that. That shade is right up my alley. Next we have Rumor Mill, deep dark gray there, and then Baby Doll. And finally we have Knee Sky. I don't know how you say that. Here is the third row of colors. And you can see that those shimmers are just really, really pretty. Love those. On to row number 4. Okay, we have Gravity Hill, Truffles. It's got a lot of sparkle in that one. Bold Type, Caving In. These two look really similar in the pan, but we'll see. No, they're a little bit different. Fascinated. Lots of browns and pinks in this one. I thought it was going to be very cool toned, but I feel like it actually has quite a lot of warm tones in it as well. So that's kind of nice that there's a mix. So here is row number 4. Those first two rows are definitely a lot lighter. feel like the next two are a lot darker, and then this row right here is definitely going to be the darkest. You can see those dark matte shades right there. So let's go ahead and swatch those. We're going to start with Play It Cool. Really pretty, has this pretty pink glitter in there. Fickle Fate, really dark brown. Cult Classic, Rock Bottom, which looks like a pure black, and then Drama Mama, deep dark brown, and finally Obsidian, which is a really dark purpley kind of red shade. So here are all the swatches. So we've got first row, second row, third, fourth, and finally fifth with those dark mattes there. So that is a really pretty mix of colors and shimmers. I'm really liking the shimmers in this one. Okay, so here is what it looks like in natural lighting. I turned off my ring light so you can really see some of the colors a little bit better. So you've got these really pretty shimmers here. Love this silver one. Really love this shade. I think that's so pretty. And then this one might be my favorite. It's just this really shimmery, pretty shade here. So now that my arm is completely swatched up, I'm gonna go ahead and remove these because I want to show you what I think might be some dupes in the That's Taupe palette. So first of all, I do want to say that while I like both of these palettes and I think they're pretty, I expected this palette to be much bigger, but as you can see, it's really not that much bigger. It's still about the same size pans. This one is one I've seen YouTubers rave about, whereas this one I haven't heard as much about, and that's why I wanted to do a video on it. So I'm gonna see if we can compare some of the shades in here just to see if there are any dupes. I'm gonna take Boa from the That's Taupe palette, and it's just kind of a beigey shade, kind of nondescript. And I'm gonna take Enigma, and you can see that those are pretty similar. Okay, next we'll see if we can do Pebble Beach. So again, this is the That's Taupe palette right there. And let's see what shade. Quarry Days looks like a pretty good dupe for that. That's what those look like. I'm sorry this palette is so messy, by the way, but like I said, I've been using it. I got it around Christmas time. I've been using it almost every day. It's what I actually have on my eyes today. So here's Python. Kind of a pinky taupe color. That reminds me of Ghost Town. Again, very similar. I know I'm not going to find a dupe for this one. This one is Slated. I'll just swatch it up here because there is no dupe. It's a really, really pretty shimmery shade. I'll show you these up close. But the closest thing that I would think would be a little bit of a dupe is going to be I Dig It, but again, it's just not. Sorry, it's hard to show you these, but this is from the That's Taupe palette, and this is from the Stone Cold Fox, and they're just not similar enough, so I don't think that that one is a dupe, and this is actually one of my favorite shades from the That's Taupe palette, so I kind of like that there's not a copy of that. And then, let's see, Cold Blooded. Really pretty silvery shade. That's going to remind me of Moment to Be. A little bit different. This one is definitely a little bit more gold toned, so not mad at that one. Let me see what this one looks like next to it as well. Nope, so that one does not have a dupe. This one is Rock Steady. Put it up here. So kind of a matte grayish shade. Let's see, Cult Classic here next to that. No, that's a little bit lighter. And then Bold Type, let's see. Yeah, Bold Type would definitely be one. So these two right here. And then you have Constrictor, which is right there. I don't see anything that would match Constrictor in this palette. So that one is not. So these two for sure do not have dupes for them. And this one does not have a close dupe. And then finally we have Bedrock. This is just a matte brown. That should be very easy to dupe. Probably with Drama Mama, a little darker, or Cult Classic. So yeah, Cult Classic. So those two. So out of all of these shades, I would say you've got dupes for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, kind of 7. I wouldn't say it's a complete dupe though, so these two shades would definitely be unique shades to this palette. So there is a lot of overlap, and if you look at them side by side, I know you can see that they are similar in some ways, but they are a lot different in other ways. For one thing, this has 2 white shades, so those would be good for, you know, brow bone highlights, things like that. And then you have this bright silver, which is, there's nothing like that in here. There's also not a bright pink. And then you just have some more shimmery things that are a little bit different. Like this truffle shade right here is a duochrome. So it is a kind of medium brown, but then it's got a bluish purple gold looking glitter in there that definitely has a shift to it. Very pretty. Same thing with this. This has a really fine glittery shimmer that has a lot of pink in it. I think the matte shades are going to be easier to dupe than the sparkly shades. I feel like ColourPop does those really well, but they also do a lot of them. So I hope that that helps. I think they're both really pretty. I'm really glad I got both. I think it's worth waiting for. I can't say that I am in love with ColourPop as a company, and I've talked about that before, but as far as their eyeshadow palettes and the quality of them, I don't have any complaints. I really love these. I think they're gorgeous. And I think that if you want to kind of dip your toes in, this is a great palette. If you want to go full on everything where you have so many things to work with and so many looks, this is a great one. But I also think that if you want both, that's not a horrible thing. You know, this might be a good travel palette, whereas this is going to be your staying at home palette. Or maybe you just have a big collection and you don't need to have all these shades, so maybe something like this would be better for you too. So I am going to take a break for today. I'm going to come back tomorrow and I'm going to do a look with the Stone Cold Fox palette. Like I said, I've already used this palette on my eyes today and I didn't do anything fancy, but this is the look and there is a lot of shimmer on that look and I love it. I think the shimmers can complement eye colors so well and really make your eyes pop. So I love this palette so much. But I cannot wait to dip my toes into this and see what some really pretty shades are that I haven't worked with in this palette. So there is a bit of overlap. Like I said, you've still got 2 or 3 shades that are not quite dupes. You can see the mattes are extremely similar. I think it's pretty easy to dupe mattes, but there are a lot of shimmer shades that are also very dupable. So it's up to you. I'm personally glad that I have both, and I'll show you a look with this palette tomorrow. Also, I did want to show you what I did on my eyes today because I said I did use this palette. So for today's look, I didn't do anything crazy. I tried to clean this up, by the way, and it just made it look worse. So I apologize for the way this looks. But I took Pebble Beach and Python and put that in my crease. And then I took Bedrock and a little bit of Rock Steady, put that on my outer corner. I put a little bit of Python under my eye, kind of smudged out, and then lined it a little bit with a smaller thin brush with Bedrock again to kind of a little bit of a liner look. And then for my lid, I really love mixing these 2 shades, Cold Blooded, which is the silvery, and Snake Eyes, which is this gorgeous pinky taupe color. So that is what is all over my lid today. And then in the inner corner, just to brighten everything up, I used this slated shade. This is almost like a pressed pigment. It is very like chunky. It's a little bit hard to work with, especially if you're new to eyeshadow, but it is amazing. I mean, I just barely dipped my brush in there and It's like bling, it really sparkles and shines. I love this palette so much. I understand all the hype that was on YouTube about it because it's just so pretty. So again, not a review on the That's Taupe palette, although I kind of snuck one in there, but this is great. I highly recommend this one, and it's really cheap. So I think this is a great starter palette if you're not sure, if you haven't used ColourPop before. Like I said, I'm new to them, so I'm glad that I started with this palette. I will show you the look with the Stone Cold Fox palette, and I cannot wait to get into this one. So it is the next day. I have all of my makeup brushes ready to go, and I have my palette ready to go. So I have you guys zoomed way in, and you can probably see every wrinkle that I have, but that's okay because we're gonna have fun with this palette. So I have no idea what look I'm going to do, but I'm just gonna dive in and see what we come up with. I've already done all the rest of my makeup, so the only thing that I haven't done is eyeshadow and mascara, and that's what we're gonna do right now. So I'm going to take my Sigma E38 brush, and I'm going to start with my crease. So I want to start with kind of a lighter kind of skin tone shade. I'm going to go into Enigma and tap off that excess, and then I'm just going to put that into the crease. I am not a makeup artist. I am just a makeup enthusiast. So I am not going to show this as a tutorial, but I'm just going to show what I would do in real life, how I would use this palette. If you want to watch makeup tutorials, then people like Emily Noel and several others are wonderful, but that is just not my forte. I am a huge makeup lover. I wear makeup every day, even if I'm not going somewhere, because it just brings me a lot of joy to do that. So that's what we're gonna do. But you can tell I'm obviously not a pro. So I have that color laid down. I want to go a little bit deeper with a little bit tighter of a crease. I took that color a little farther up. So now I'm going to go in to just right in that crease, and I'm not going to take this up as much. I do take it down and kind of make a V shape there, and that's going to help me later when I add that deeper color in my outer corner. But I'm just taking it right there, and now that my brush is pretty much cleaned off from that color, I will take it a little bit farther up. My mirror is right here, by the way, which is why I'm looking in this direction, because this doesn't come with a mirror, unfortunately. So now that we have that, we are going to take the Sigma Domed Utility E34 brush. This is really good for packing on color in the outer corner, so that's what I like to use it for. And I want to take a fairly dark color, so I'm going to take this Fickle Fate color here, which is a dark brown, and I packed it on there pretty well, but I'm still going to tap off the excess. And I'm just going to make a V shape with that. And I like to really get that color on there before I go in and blend it. So it looks crazy right now. I promise it won't look crazy at the end. At least I hope not. I guess I can't promise, but I hope that it will look blended and nice. So we've got our color right there. We don't want to leave it like that. So now I'm going to take my blending brush again, and I'm just going to pull that in from where I started it, and then pull it down from where I started it at the top, and just fluff that out so it's a lot softer of a look. You don't want to have this really harsh look there, because it's just not going to be a good look for you. So I just kind of like small circle motions really, and just blend that out like that. So we have much more of a blended look. And then I'm gonna see here, it's hard to tell from this far away. I think I am gonna go in just with the same brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Stone Age, which is right here, this pink shade. I want a little bit more of something in higher up in the crease, and I want it to be less brown tone. So I'm going to take this pink shade and just go up just a little bit, not anything crazy, but I want to have a little bit of that pink color on the edge there. That's really pretty. Now I'm going to take the MAC, I think this is the 220 or 230 possibly. It's hard to tell because it is so worn out. I've had this brush for years. MAC brushes just last forever, so I can't even tell you how long I've had this, but I love this brush. I want to go into something kind of shimmery and fun. Let's start with this Caving In shade right here. It's kind of a pinky taupe. It's really interesting. This one I'm going to use this flat shader brush for so that I can really pack that color onto the lid and get as much color payoff as I can with it. So I'm just going to do the inner 2/3. And as I get to the crease, I kind of turn my brush sideways and like go into it so that I'm not taking that shimmer up into the crease way high, because that's not going to be cute either. Like I said, this is how I do my makeup. It's not a professional job, it's just what I like to do. So now that I have that color, a lot of times I like to layer something that maybe make it more dimensional or just make it slightly of a different tone than the original color. So while I like this color, it's pretty neutral for me, so I want to do something a little bit different. So let's go crazy with this Play It Kohl, and this is a really deep shimmery shade. It has this lot of this little pink and a little bit of gold glitter. So I'm going to take this fluffier brush. This is a MAC 217. Tap off the excess, and I'm going to go over the same spots that I just went over, but with a lighter hand. So I'm just kind of dusting this over so that it's going to give that little wash of color over, but it's not going to completely cover our first shade. You can see that's giving it a different tone and a little bit more dimension, and that's so pretty. I love that color. A little bit of a smokier look tonight, but our restaurant's just opened in town for the first time in, I believe, 2.5 months. So it's been rough, not for us, but for the restaurant industry. I feel really bad for them and their employees. This is the MAC 219, and it's their little kind of pencil brush. I like to do a smudge underneath before I go in with more of a liner look. So this is just kind of smudging it, smoking it out a little bit, I guess you could say, and I'm using Stone Age for that as well, that pink shade. So anyway, we are going to be going out to eat for the first time in months, and it feels really good to do that, and I feel like I need a margarita or 10, so I'm going to live it up with my eyeshadow and do something kind of fun and a little bit more smoky than maybe what I would usually do, but that's all right. Next I'm going to take this shade So Fine, which is this really pretty pink shimmer. I think that's going to be a really gorgeous inner corner highlight. So we're just going to take that. Oh, that's stunning. I love having a really bright shade there. I used to be afraid of having a really bright inner corner highlight, but for one thing, eyeshadow tends to fade even if you use a primer. You know, it'll last longer, but it's still gonna fade throughout the day. So, you know, if I were putting this on in the morning, it is not going to stay this blingy all day long, but it is still gonna give me some color there, and putting an inner corner highlight on really brightens up everything. I mean, I think it's just a night and day difference. Now I'm going to take Luxe, which is this cream shade right here, and this is going to be a good brow bone shade. So I like to take it way to almost the top of my, or I guess bottom of my brow, and just really fluff that out. And this is coming off a lot lighter than what I assumed. It looks very creamy in the pan, but it's coming off almost white. So like I said, I haven't tried this palette before. I am using it for the first time with you guys, so that's a bit bright. Not sure, we might have to go back and fix that, and it looks like we'd probably have to fix it with a different palette because I'm not seeing anything that is my skin tone in here. I think if I were maybe more tan, that would work, but Not sure on that one. All right, so now we've done almost everything. I'm going to go in with the MAC 212 brush, and this is their flat liner brush. This is great for doing a really tight line on the bottom lid, or the top for that matter. You can just really get in there really close to your lash line. So I usually don't go for the black. If I'm doing like, you know, a really vampy smoky look, then maybe I'll do the black. But I usually like to do more of a brown or even a red or grayish kind of color like this. I think the black looks too harsh on me most of the time. And you can see, I'm sure on camera, that I do have some fine lines under there. So I don't want to do anything that's going to really accentuate that. So I'm going to take, let's take this obsidian shade. It's kind of a dark reddish kind of burgundy brown shade, and I'm just going to smudge that right on my lash line, starting at the very outer corner, and I go to about 2/3 of the way in, and I just think it helps define my eye without it being a really heavy look. Sometimes a black eyeliner on the bottom of your eye can really pull your eye down. And my eye shape cannot handle that. So I take the excess once I've done that, and I just do a little bit of a wing. And it's not, you know, anything fancy where I have to do a liner, a liquid liner, something like that. I'm so not skilled in that department, but I love having this little shape here that kind of complements where I put that darker color. And actually, I'm looking here, now that I've got all of this here, I feel like I can go back and do a little bit of a darker color again. I think we've lost a little bit of that with the shimmer. So I'm gonna go back in. I'm just gonna be lazy and use my blending brush to apply this, but go back in with the same color obsidian and just kind of smudge that out a little bit so we don't lose that matte shade there in the corner. And then I'll just take what's left into the crease, kind of blend everything together. All right, so that is what it's looking like. Obviously, you could do 1,000,001 looks with this palette. I think there are so many options. I think you could do a lot of really cool toned looks, but really, I think there are just as many warm toned looks as there are cool toned. And that's what I really like about this. I think there's something for everybody in this one. So I'm really excited to play with this more. I love this first look. I think I'm gonna love, you know, creating all kinds of different looks with it. So I'm really excited about it. Still gonna use my That's Taupe palette religiously, but now that I have this one, I know that this is gonna be in rotation and I'm gonna be playing with this a lot over the next few months. I hope that you enjoyed the lipstick on my teeth during the first half of this video. I did not realize that until it was too late, and I did not feel like I should go back and refilm everything, so you just get to see me with lipstick on my teeth. That's fine. So I think that does it. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you did, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. I'm gonna put a little mascara on here.